Hey, what is up, awesome people? This is Shady Wags with Got Your Back Gaming. Wolverine has to be one of my favorite Marvel comic book characters. In a fight, he is constantly moving forward, getting in close to inflict maximum critical damage to the enemy, while his mutant healing factor allows him to shrug off extreme amounts of damage. He is the ultimate weapon. The ultimate weapon X, I guess I should say. With my build, I'm calling this the Wolverine. You can tap into your inner Logan, forget about taking cover, and run into the fight doing massive amounts of damage and constantly keeping yourself healed. You can see here in this build I have focused primarily on stamina and armor. With 2,983 points going into the stamina attribute, this gives me over 90,000 hit points, and I'm at a total armor class of 3,799. With those numbers, I'm able to mitigate over 50% of all incoming damage. Remember that number, 50%, because that is going to be important. Despite focusing a majority of my points into stamina, I still have a decent firearm skill at 1,465. And by equipping the proper weapons and attachments to those weapons, I still will be able to reach over 100,000 DPS. I'm also selectively choosing equipment that boosts my critical hit chance and damage, as well as pulse critical hit chance and damage. Right now, my percentage is a 32% chance to critical with 45% more critical hit damage. The important number here is that critical percent chance of 32%. This class setup is not for the person who wants to use different types of skills, or worry about when to use those skills, or spend time aiming those skills. With only 966 electronics, this is going to limit my ability to activate some of the special abilities on weapons, so I will have to be picky about what weapons I am going to use. I have decided to go with this MP5 ST, and this is a superior gun. I do have high-end weapons which have more base DPS, but I actually do more damage with this gun because I have met the requirements to activate the special abilities on this gun. By meeting the requirements, this gun does 20% more critical damage, and I'm healing myself after every kill 4%. What this all means is just because a gun is high-end or it looks like it has better DPS does not necessarily mean it is better. Let's talk about the skills and talents I'm using and how they work together in this build. As in probably every solo build, I am using first aid. I am using it with overdose because I have a lot of hit points and I need that extra healing, as opposed to taking the booster shot, which would help me do more damage, but it only heals for half that amount. I am also using scan, which is going to up my crit chance and damage. When scan is active, my critical chance will be 25% more and the damage 67%. If we factor in my prior percentage of 32% chance to crit, we are all the way up to almost a 58% chance for a critical hit and an extra 112% critical damage. So if we look at those damage numbers, blue equals damage to armor. White is the normal damage after that armor is gone. Red is headshot damage, and orange is critical damage. So after I hit that scan, watch here and see how many times I'm hitting for critical damage. Just look for that orange.
Additional hostiles detected.
And in this instance, you can see my normal damage was 5,794. But with all my bonuses factored in, I'm hitting up to 4 times that number. For my talents, I've selected to go with Adrenaline, which when using a medkit at not at full health, this will give you an overheal. I'm using Critical Save, because remember, I'm already mitigating 53% damage because of my armor. When I'm at low health and when I use a medkit, Critical Save will kick in, and for 10 seconds, I'll get an extra 40% mitigation. That's on top of already my 53%, so I'm going to be at 93% damage mitigation. Yes, you heard that right. For 10 seconds, I'm going to be blocking 93% of all incoming damage. I'm also using tech support, so every time I get a kill while scan is active, it's going to extend the length of the scan skill by 10%. And you can see how fast I'm ripping through kills here. That time is going to add up, keeping that scan up for longer and longer periods of time. This next talent is very important to this build, and that's On the Move. Every time I kill an enemy while moving, I'm going to mitigate 30% more damage for 10%, and that's on top of my 53%, equaling out to 83% damage mitigation. Since I'm not using cover, this means I'm almost always at that 83% damage mitigation mark. Watch here and you can see as I go from kill to kill, that On the Move buff is going to be active. For my special skill, I'm using Survivor Link, and when this is active for 15 seconds, I will have 80% damage resistance. So what that does is, when that is active, on top of all those other damage resistance buffs that I have, for that 15 seconds, I'm going to be virtually invulnerable. Yes, invulnerable. Watch here when I click this, I'm going to go ahead and let these guys just fire on me. And you can see I'm taking like next to no damage. Wolverine has that regeneration that constantly keeps him in a fight, and this is no different in this class setup. By picking out equipment that is going to increase my health with every kill, that my health per kill is 31%. Let's watch my health here as I go from fight to fight. After every fight, I'm getting healed for 31% damage, which is consistently keeping me at full health. Let's go through each piece of equipment, so if you want to replicate this class, you'll know what type of equipment to be looking for. I'm using a Superior MP5 ST, which has a DPS of 73,116. I don't even have high-end attachments on this gun yet, so as I replace them out, that DPS is just going to go up. And it's important to note again that this gun has that extra critical damage percentage and the health per kill, which are both active because I have met those attribute requirements. I'm using Plate of Armor, which adds 406 points to the firearm skill. It has that nice extra 428 points of armor, 8% health on kill, and also adds some ammo capacity and a 7.5% extra first aid self-heal. Moving on to the mask, I'm using the Spec Ops mask, which has 374 armor. It's adding 572 to my stamina with another 9% health on kill. It also has 3% pulse critical hit damage bonus and a mod slot which I can change out as I need to. And right now I'm using an advanced stamina mod, adding 92 additional stamina points and allows me to do 2% extra enemy armor damage. So this is a high-end piece of equipment, and high-end pieces of equipment do have talents attached to them. This one has rehabilitated. It's going to heal me 2% every second during status effects. So if I'm bleeding or I'm on fire, shocked, or disrupted, it's going to start healing me. You can use that to your advantage. If I was massively hurt, but I was in cover, and I was waiting for my first aid to cool down, I did not have it available at that time, what I could do is potentially throw a tear gas grenade on top of myself, and that would begin to heal me. For knee pads, I'm using high-end tactical pads. You can see they have a 263 armor bonus, which puts that armor class all the way up to 952. They're adding 505 to my stamina, an additional 1,217 on top of my hit points, and this piece also has enemy armor damage and more pulse critical hit damage. For the backpack, I'm using an operator backpack which has 568 armor. It's adding 97 points to my firearms and 570 to my stamina. What is nice about the talent on this backpack is it adds 13% of firearms and stamina automatically to my skill power. So I'm getting a little jump in skill power, which is going to help out with first aid and the scan without actually having to put any points into electronics. This backpack also has some skill attributes. It's adding 9% to support station duration, which I'm probably going to recalibrate when I get some more Phoenix credits here and change it to something like scan duration or even more critical damage or critical chance. And it also has an 8.5% first aid self-heal and an empty mod slot, which right now I have modded out to firearms. For my gloves, I'm using the responder gloves that have 324 armor class. They're adding 398 points to my stamina, and they have the major attributes of 5% critical hit chance, adding another 8% health on kill, 1,498 marksman rifle damage, and 6.5% pulse critical hit damage. For my last piece, I'm using the Rapid Assault Holster, which has 606 armor class. You can see that it's adding points across all my attributes and tacking on another 7% to that pulse critical hit damage. Still have a lot of superior pieces and superior mods, so as I find those better high-end pieces, the amount of damage that this class can do and the amount that it can tank is only going to get stronger. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I really would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you have not yet, please subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good one.